Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning in to this week's fishing report. Well, it is the last weekend of walleye fishing here in Minnesota, but it is not the last weekend that we are going to be doing fishing reports. So stay tuned, probably till the middle to end of March. We'll be posting every Thursday at 10 a.m. until that time. Now I want to thank you guys for mentioning us to all the resorts and guides when you're stopping in there. Really goes a long way with helping us out, and we really appreciate that. But with that being said, let's dive into today's report. Alright, we're going to start this week out up on Leech Lake. I talked to the guys from Horseshoe Bay Lodge today, and they are going to be open for this coming weekend. I know a lot of people have been asking, with this storm coming, what's going to happen with the resorts. Well, they are only expected to get 1 to 3 inches of snow from Wednesday into Thursday. So they're expecting to have that all cleaned up by the weekend, and they will have all their roads open with plenty of plowed chutes for wheelhouses. Now, as far as restrictions go, they do not have any. You can drive any truck and wheelhouse combination out there. So you're good to go for this coming weekend. Now, as far as fishing goes, the walleye bite has been picking up a little bit. As far as where to find them, 16 to 23 feet of water has been best. Now, out at the Paris Trench Road, they did pick up some walleyes in 25 to 33 feet of water. So if you're going to fish the Paris Trench, try and fish that 25 to 33 feet. Now, as far as perch go, the perch they're finding in 20 to 30 feet of water, and they told me that the mud is key right now. So if you want to chase perch, you got to be in those mud basins. That's where those perch are hanging out. There is some food in there, and they are targeting in on those bug hatches. Now, the best way to catch those perch, jigging spoons with the minnow head. Draw them in. If they're not biting that, downsize to a small tungsten jig with either a plastic or a wax worm, and you'll have some success catching those perch out there. Now, as far as eel pout go, 15 to 30 feet of water. They said they're really scattered out right now. They're trying to figure out exactly where the big schools of them are. They're getting ready to spawn, and they're hopefully going to be able to figure out where the huge schools of them are and be able to put you guys on them this weekend and into the rest of ice fishing season. Now, the best way for catching eel pout. Big jigs tipped with 1 or 2 fatheads. You'll want them to be glow jigs, and then you need to be jigging really big glow spoons. I know a lot of guys go out there, they put a jig down on the rattle reel, and then they just sit down, relax, and whatever. That's not really going to cut it. Those eel pout like people to be actively jigging, big glow spoons, tip them with a fathead or 2, be pounding it on bottom, raise it up. That's how you're going to draw those eel pout in, and that's where your success is going to come from. So be prepared to stay up late and be jigging a lot. Now, as far as the whitefish and tulipy, those are still out deep in the basins, anywhere from 28 to 40 feet of water. They are going to be extending their Paris Trench Road out into some better tulipy and whitefish areas. So if you want to check out the tulipy fishing, look into that Paris Trench Road and see if they have the extension to the deep water finished by this weekend. Now, the best way to catch those tulipy and whitefish, either with a small tungsten jig in a plastic, or put on a Berkeley vibrato in gold or pink, and you'll probably have some success catching those. Now guys, when you get up to Horseshoe Bay Lodge, they really wanted me to emphasize that they want you to ask where the best bite has been. They're even planning on guiding you out to spots. If you're willing to ask, they will shuttle you out to spots, help get you in a chute that's been producing fish or in a fishy area. So don't be afraid to ask where the fish are biting, and they will help you get on them. Now, Horseshoe Bay Lodge, they have a full bar and restaurant, amazing food in there. They have hotel rooms, cabins, condos, hot tub, pool, sauna. So whatever you're looking for, they can accommodate you. Now, if you guys are looking for a wheelhouse up there on Leech Lake, Tanner from Only Outdoors, he's renting out wheelhouses up there. I know he does not have a ton of availability left, but with this snowstorm, it did scare some people off, so it doesn't hurt to give him a call and see what he has available for this weekend and the next. Now, if you're looking for a guide trip up on Leech Lake, Leech Lake Guide Team LLC, they are guiding for all different species. Even after walleye season closes, they will be running eel pout trips, and then they will be getting heavy into the jumbo perch trips. So if you want to get in on a guided eel pout trip or jumbo perch, make sure you contact Leech Lake Guide Team LLC. Now guys, I do want to mention quickly, open water season is just around the corner. So if you want to get up to Leech Lake this summer, stay at a resort, go out fishing, book a room at Horseshoe Bay Lodge. If you're looking for a guide, contact Leech Lake Guide Team and you can combine your trip there and have a blast up at Leech Lake this coming summer. So if you guys are looking to get up to Leech Lake this coming weekend, go ahead and call Cam or Courtney from Horseshoe Bay Lodge. All right, now sliding over to Lake Winnie. I talked to Chad today from the Pines Resort, and he said that the fishing has been picking up out there. The fish are in transition. They're starting to move in for the spawn, and things should only get better as the season continues. Now, they are expecting to get about 2 to 4 inches of snow from this storm, but they said no worries. They will have the roads all cleaned up. They're going to have plenty of pre-plowed chutes for you guys. And as usual, there is no restrictions out on the road, so go ahead and drive any truck or wheelhouse up there this coming weekend. Now, I asked him how the fishing was. Walleye fishing, he said it is improving. The day bite is starting to pick up a little bit, although it still is primarily a night bite. The best depths for walleye, 15 to 22 feet of water. Get on a transition, and he told me the best ways to catch those fish are with a plain white hook or a plain red hook tipped with fatheads or rainbows. Now, as far as jigging goes, he told me buckshot spoons in green, pink, or white have produced the most fish. So go ahead, give that a shot. And with this being the last weekend of walleyes, I hope you get a bunch up on Lake Winnie. Now, as far as the perch fishing goes, more numbers of bigger perch have been pulling into the bay. The best depths for those are 12 to 20 feet of water. You gotta search around a little bit, and when you get on a school, you typically really get on a school. So if you're up there to chase perch this coming weekend, don't be afraid to move. Start out hole hopping, and then when you find a big school, then you can drop your house on top of them. Now, as far as the best way to catch those perch, basically the same as walleyes. Plain hooks tipped with fatheads or small buckshot spoons with minnow heads have been working the best for the perch. Now, if the perch do tend to be finicky, don't be afraid to downsize to a small tungsten jig with a waxworm or a minnow head. Now, Chad also told me that there is plenty of pike moving around out there. So if you want to chase pike, get in shallower on the weed lines. You will catch some out deeper too, but the majority of them pike are in on the weed lines. So don't be afraid to soak a sucker minnow in there, and you might catch some really nice northern pike. Now, the tulipy bite, they are still catching tulipies out on the river channel. You got to find those deeper holes, 28 feet plus, and that's where you will find the tulipies out there. Now, the eel pout bite has been picking up. They're finding them in shallower, up as shallow as 12 feet of water. Find a sharp break on the river channel, kind of some sand and gravel, and that's where you're going to find your majority of eel pout out there. Now, as far as panfish go, the panfish bite is picking up bluegills and crappies. You'll find those in the weeds and on the weed edges. The crappies, some of them still are out deep, but they are starting to find them in 8 to 12 feet of water in those weeds and on the weed edges. Best way to catch those, small tungsten jigs tipped with Euro larvae, waxworms, or plastics. Now, the Pines Resort, they do have a full bar and restaurant. They got a heated fish cleaning shack. They do have live bait. They are limited just to fatheads right now, but you should be able to catch most everything on those fatheads up there. Now, they are going to continue to rent out cabins into the middle of March. So if you'd like to get a cabin and then go out with four-wheeler, truck, portables, whatever it might be, go ahead and call the Pines Resort and look into booking a cabin. Now, after March 4th, they are not going to maintain their road anymore, but the access will still be open. If for some reason it snows and you can't get your wheelhouse out on the lake and that's what you want to do, he did say there will be room to camp in your wheelhouse up by the lodge, and then you can go out during the day with your truck, four-wheeler, snowmobiles, whatever it might be, and you can continue to fish out on Tamarack Bay. Now guys, just want to remind you, open water just around the corner. If you want to book a cabin at the Pines Resort, select dates are filling up really quick, so jump in on that. Get your calendar out, figure out what dates are going to work for you, and then give Chad a call and book your open water trips as soon as you can. So if you guys are looking to get up to Lake Winnie this coming weekend, go ahead and call Chad from the Pines Resort. Alright, now moving over to Zup's Guide Service. Zup's fish houses, they are full for the rest of the year. Unless there is some cancellations, I will find out from him each week and keep you posted on that. But if you guys want an open water guided trip out on Lake Winnie, in my opinion, Scott Zupfer, Zup's Guide Service, he is the best in the business. So book your stay up on Lake Winnie and then call Scott. Hop in his boat with them. He is extremely knowledgeable. You will have fun fishing with him. I guarantee that. So go ahead, give Scott a call and book that up when you figure out the dates that work for you. So if you're looking for a guided trip up on Lake Winnie this open water season, go ahead and call Scott from Zup's Guide Service. Okay, moving down to Mille Lacs Lake, I talked to Jeff from Castles Resort today. Currently, we are in the brunt of the storm. We are expected to get anywhere from like 8 to 12 inches of snow. They are expecting to keep their access open this coming weekend. However, they will have limited roads out there. They are moving everything inside of Isle Bay, but they will have Isle Bay open for wheelhouses, trucks, portables, whatever you want to bring out there. There is no vehicle or wheelhouse restrictions at this time, but I would tell you either call them before heading up there or stay tuned to their Facebook page in case things would change. This storm is looking pretty nasty. It's going to be windy, so let's see what happens before you rush up there and find out otherwise. As far as fishing goes, Jeff told me that the fish are still hanging out fairly deep. He recommended 22 feet or deeper for both perch and walleye. Now, if you want to chase big pike out there or crappies, the crappies are up in the weeds and the pike are hanging on those weed edges. Now, the best techniques for catching the walleye and perch. The walleye's plain red hooks on dead sticks or rattle reels tipped with small sucker minnows, rainbows, or fatheads. Now, to draw them in, you should be jigging a buckshot spoon. Don't be afraid to pound it down in the sand or mud, depending on what structure you're set up on. Tip that with a head of a minnow, and that usually will draw the fish in, and then they will bite your dead stick or rattle reel. Now for the perch, if the bite is on, they will bite a buckshot spoon tipped with a minnow head. If they're a little more finicky, you might have to downsize to a small tungsten with Euro larva or waxworms. Now, Castles Resort, they do offer live bait. They can fill your propane for your wheelhouses. They have a small selection of tackle and other fishing gear in their resort. So if you're headed up to Mille Lacs Lake this coming weekend, go ahead and stop in at Castles Resort on Isle Bay. One other thing I wanted to mention, guys, Castles Resort on March 11th, they are going to be hosting Flag Fest. Tip-up fishing for northern pike in the bay. It is going to be a blast. Rachel and I and the kids, we will be up there. We're going to be hanging out, chasing some flags, hopefully, pulling some big pike through the ice. I will have more details on that next week, But save that date, March 11th, Castles Resort, Flag Fest. It's going to be a blast, and we hope to see you guys up there. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Like I said before, we are going to continue the reports into the middle to end of March. As long as there's good ice, we will report on the perch, panfish, tullibee, and eel pout bites going on the 3 lakes. So don't pack up your ice fishing gear yet. There is plenty of season left. If you guys do get out this weekend, remember, be respectful of other fishermen. Don't crowd your neighbor. Pick up your trash. And most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.